Hi, welcome to Karen K Reviews. Today I am reviewing Abbott Elementary Season 2, Episode 11, Read-A-Thon. This episode's opening scene takes place in the teacher's lounge where Janine and Gregory have an awkward time greeting each other after their moment at the club during winter break. Ava breaks the moment by saying it was a Disney Channel grind at best. Normally, Abbott's opening scenes don't relate much to what is happening with the storyline, but I did like that we got to see these two awkward characters and see what they would do when they saw each other again. Our first conflict was introduced when the teachers find out that it is time for the Read-A-Thon. Melissa is the current Read-A-Thon champion, and of course, in typical Janine fashion, Janine begins a mostly friendly competition with Melissa. Next, Jacob is starting a podcast club with, surprising of all people, Gregory, This Abbott Life. Jacob has his plan for the podcast, but the students have another vision for what the podcast should be. Of course, in a brutal competition, there are casualties, and Melissa's best three readers go down with pink eye. According to Janine, Melissa's pizza is cooked. Melissa and Janine decide to raise the stakes on their competition. Melissa suggests they put their dignity on the line. They decide that whoever loses the Read-A-Thon has to be a guest on Jacob's podcast. This is another old school versus new school teacher comparison. Janine has the reading sanctuary set up, while Melissa has the motivational speeches and drive that only a seasoned teacher can give to students. Later, Clarence and Raheem began recording their first episode of This Abbott Life. They deviate from Jacob's plan and want to talk about girls and starting rumors in the cafeteria. When looking at the chart for the Read-A-Thon, Janine notices that Melissa's class is way ahead even though her top three readers went down. She basically accuses Melissa of cheating, which Melissa denies, but she does begin to look into her paperwork and realizes Maya, one of her students who struggles with reading, has been saying she's been reading 20 or so books a night and her parents are signing off on her form. Then, after hearing their first episode of This Abbott Life, which Jacob edited and censored, Clarence and Raheem quit. After Melissa checks Maya's sheet, she calls a meeting with Maya's parents about her Read-A-Thon paper. Melissa shares with them how great Maya is, but explains that since she is struggling with reading, it would be good to test her to see how to help her. Her parents are in denial about it. There is often a stigma that something is wrong with a child if they need support through different services. It doesn't mean that the child will not be successful in school or in life, but it levels the playing ground for them. Melissa has a sit-down conversation with Maya and honestly asks her, can reading be a little tough sometimes? And opens up and shares tips that her teacher taught her about reading and gives her a book that her teacher gave her when she was in school. Jacob talks to Ava, who, of course, taunts him a bit, but helps him realize that he was using the podcast to do something that he wanted to do and not something that the kids wanted. He talks to Raheem and Clarence and lets them know that he is going to give them power over the podcast. Janine is confident that she has won and even does a victory cartwheel, but Melissa hits her with a loophole that she found in the competition guidelines. Melissa's second and third graders count as one class, so Melissa is the champion again, and Janine will be a guest on This Abbott Life. Raheem and Clarence went in with no hesitation on Janine's interview. They asked what we all wanted to know. Jacob wanted the tea too. It was completely unexpected because the interview happened when the credits started rolling. Also, now Gregory knows about Maurice and Janine, and I did not expect him to find out this way. I'm really curious to see how Janine and Gregory handle it now that it seems that everyone, kids included, knows their business. I am assuming, though, that this podcast episode will not be released to the school. Here are a few stray observations. Barbara commenting on Janine and Gregory's social skills was hilarious. It honestly can be an odd feeling to be back at work after a break if you've been in your own bubble for a while. Gregory saying, and that's what the kids want as far as the pizza makes sense since we know that he doesn't like pizza. I love how consistent the show is with the small details and the characters. The Read-A-Thon gives me accelerated reader vibes. If you were in elementary school in the 2000s, you remember that program and the competition used to be stiff. Gregory saying that his financial situation tends to be a source of tension in his romantic life lets us know that things are definitely not all rosy with Amber. Teachers definitely do get excited about new supplies like Janine and Jacob were excited about the push pins. I'm also surprised that nobody cut Jacob off in his rambling like they usually do. I love Janine's imitation of Melissa and then her run down the hallway. This is Janine's second time getting kind of bucked with somebody. Barbara is still at it with mixing up black and white famous people. When they were talking about the King's speech, she says, that Colin Powell sure can act. Melissa's conversation with Maya is the type of conversation that only a teacher who truly has a connection with their kids can have. And it also shows that a teacher's influence, as one of my college professors said, never ends. Melissa's teacher helped her to love reading, and now Melissa is encouraging another student to love reading. Ava keeps on dropping those gems of advice this season. Jacob realizing that he is running the podcast club in a way that he wants and not in a way that the students want is something that we are reckoning with within education, which is teaching kids in a way that is best for them and not just what we as teachers feel is best for us. Overall, I give this episode an A+. The attention to character details was great, and I loved how they gave us a surprise ending. What are your opinions on this episode? Comment down below. If you like this video, please subscribe, like, and share. This review was brought to you by the Coleman Podcast Network. Thank you for watching.